Pro Football Focus. I hate Pro Football Focus. This is a big anti-Pro Football Focus show. However, whenever their stats prove me right, I will give them a shout out. 90.2 PFF grade. Welcome to What Are We Talking About with Jamie Jakes. I am him. I am sitting here with some brilliant football minds in Dallas, Texas, recorded live on Starks Avenue. How are you guys doing today?
Excelente.
Yes, I'm vibing, having the time of my life.
Yep, so we do have the game on right now. We are recording this Sunday evening. The Raiders are beating the 49ers 34-7. I haven't watched much of this game whatsoever, so if we missed any topics that happened from this game, we're sorry. That's when we are recording. We do have Meatloaf sitting to the right of me. Meatloaf will be mic'd up for today because we had one guest not be able to make it last second. And we are here with Caleb B. Davis and Drew Nickens, first time on the show. Drew, you are decked out in Washington Commanders gear. Tell me about your fandom of the team, and I'll let you take it away, Drew.
Oh, excited to be here with you young minds of football. My name is Drew Nickens. I was born in Fairfax, Virginia. And a funny story about my little brother was being born. Art Monk and Doug Williams were in the hospital doing like visits. And I was 3 years old. I don't remember it, but my dad told me about it. And I said, I'm a Redskins fan for life.
Oh,
and so I've been a Redskins fan for a long time. Ride or die. Of course, I come to the worst place to be a Commanders fan in the country. Sorry, Boston's been looking at me like, man.
That's okay. You can't play with the dog. If you haven't seen an episode before, here we do have animals running all over. Today we're lucky because Boston doesn't have a squeaker toy. Sometimes he gets that sucker right into the microphone and squeaks while I'm cutting an excellent promo on a football player that no one's ever heard of before. So we're in pretty good shape here today. So we kind of talked about this before, kind of like that 2 degrees of separation from superstar football players. I did have one that I have like basically 0 degrees of separation from, Mr. Aiden Hutchinson. Dearborn Divine Child Falcon, which is where I played my ball in high school, and he was also an Our Lady of Good Counsel Crusader, a Christian school. Our mascot was a Crusader. So, what do you think about that, Caleb?
A lot of pillaging.
A lot of pillaging, a lot of murdering Muslim people, and that is what we celebrate in Plymouth, Michigan. So there you go. Anyways, some people say that I paved the way for Aiden Hutchinson's run into Michigan University and eventually to be the second overall pick going to the Detroit Lions. He is absolutely spectacular, but it made me think of a different story. Since you're counting people visiting at the hospital, I had Barry Sanders come to one of my youth Michigan soccer games before.
Wow.
Yep. And Nick Lindstrom, a famous Red Wing Hall of Famer, I believe, in hockey. So have you ever like almost met a good football player, Caleb B. Davis?
So I went to high school with some good football players, like NFL players. Nick Bolton, he's already got a Super Bowl ring in Kansas City. All excitement in the world for him. Congratulations and cheers. Marvin Mims just taken in this year's draft by the Denver Broncos.
Didn't get to play. I think he's hurt right now.
Honestly, I have not kept up with him, but I do know I know a friend of mine I used to work with at Academy or a sporting goods store, I don't care about. One of the team sports guys, like he had a second job and he was a youth like athletic trainer basically for Frisco athletes, and Marvin was one of his athletes as well.
Really?
Yeah, his name was Jason. He told me a lot of like excitement and just kind of like how he was ramping up and dealing with, draft hype and buzz whenever you're going through college. That's exciting. I knew that from what I heard, his parents were very much so push that education, go to college, get your degree. And as far as I know, I believe he did that as well as made it to the NFL. But I mean, even if he didn't, dude, you're in the NFL, and I know you signed you got signed for some money. That's good.
Yeah.
And I hope nothing but the best for those people.
Yeah, Marvin Mims, a guy I'm really excited for fantasy-wise this season, a guy I'm targeting in a lot of leagues. He's a very talented football player, and we all know for whatever reason Sean Payton loves to throw the ball to rookie wide receivers, so we're hoping for the best for him. He was like probably the guy I was most disappointed in not getting to see in preseason, because that is really what I love about preseason, and that's what's so fun about doing these like really, really deep fantasy football leagues is you have to be familiar with very, very deep into the roster rookies in these leagues. On that note, I am wearing a TCU T-shirt in honor of Kendre Miller's career being over before it even started. He does have a mild knee sprain, and he rushed for, I believe, 1.2 yards per carry, and he had one catch for, I think, like 3 yards as well, after Alvin Kamara absolutely just single-handedly torched the defense. I don't even remember who they were playing, the Saints. But yeah, Kendre Miller, you can't win them all, but I do have a special surprise for later in the episode. Any heartbreaking moments for you guys in the preseason thus far, injury-wise, disappointment-wise in a certain fantasy football asset or real-life asset? I know a lot of the young rookie quarterbacks have not been playing super well, which brings us to our first segment of today, my top rookie talents. I think I got a list of like 6, but I'm just going to call it my top 5 rookies I liked seeing in their opening performance in these preseason football games. I've got a stat line for y'all, okay?
Okay.
2 running backs. First running back, 9 carries for 52 yards. Number 2 running back, 8 carries for 50 yards, 3 receptions, and a touchdown. Can you guys guess who these 2, I'll spoil it, rookie running backs are? Caleb B. Davis, you have any guesses?
8 carries, 50 yards, 3 receptions, and a touchdown. I want to guess is that Mr. Bigsby?
Okay, that's a good guess. Do you have a guess, Drew? Any guess at all?
No.
No guesses at all. It's not Kendre Miller. I'll tell you
It's
that
not
much.
Kendre Miller.
I was going to say my 2 degrees of separation were actually Justin Simmons. I grew up with him in Virginia.
Oh.
Yeah, he for his uncle, his dad was Victor. I called him Uncle Victor, and his mom is Kim. Victor just passed away a little bit ago, a couple months ago. Rest in peace to Victor.
Rest in peace, Victor.
And then the second one was my little brother was on a Davis High School football team in Yakima, Washington, and he was the second best player on the team. The first best was a young man named Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp.
Cooper freaking Kupp.
And it's a funny story that my parents used to say. Kettner, his little brother, used to come and stay over at our house because we had Cocoa Crisps
Okay.
at the space. But yeah,
I love that.
So I didn't want to interject too much on that one. But yeah, I just wanted to tell you. But maybe Bijan?
Bijan, that's a good guess. So Tank Bigsby, Bijan. You got a second guess? Caleb B. Davis?
Damn, I wish I did. I don't know.
Jahmyr Gibbs is out there as a
Jahmyr
rookie.
Gibbs is out there. I would love to believe. I would honestly really hope he's the one with 3 receptions and a touchdown with 50 yards and 8 carries.
Okay. So, number 1, the 9 carries for 52 yards. That is Mr. Tank Bigsby.
Okay.
So, good job on that one. Number 2, 8 carries, 50 yards, 3 receptions, and a touchdown is none other than Dallas Cowboys Deuce Vaughn, averaging over 6 yards a carry. He looks incredible. He did get hit in the backfield a couple of times. He did have one ball sail over his head that I believe was intercepted because he is 5'5" legitimately. He looks absolutely hilarious popping out of. He is you know what I like to describe his game as? He's a squirter. Because if you let him squirt into a hole, he is off to the races, gone. If he gets touched at the line of scrimmage, he is going down.
I want to say I'm zero surprise for me that a ball sailed over his fucking head.
Yeah.
Just going to say that now.
It was unfortunate, but he did make a couple of really good catches after that, and one that he had to jump up. It looked like his feet were 5'5" in the air, 5 feet in the air.
We really need to get some momentum behind trying to get him to have time out of his day to come sit and talk with us, to film a race between us, and maybe some thumb wrestling.
Deuce Vaughn.
Yes,
Deuce Vaughn, please come on to the episode. I will pay for your Uber and whatever, dude.
I know Uber drivers. I will get an Uber driver to come get you. That's it.
Private Uber driver.
Yeah.
We'll have you picked up in a Camaro and you can sit in the back seat.
If there are back seats of Camaros, I've never been inside of one.
There are. I actually have a Camaro. If you sit in if Drew sat in the back seat, he wouldn't be able to fit. My head is on the ceiling.
Oh, okay.
When you're sitting in the back of,
definitely safe, especially in Texas.
Super duper safe. Yeah. Chevy Camaros.
Another really good running back this week was Davis from the Chargers. How about that?
Really?
Did you look at his stat line?
No.
He had an 81-yard run.
Was it
Elijah Dotson, maybe?
Darius Davis right there, the receiver? Did he get
there was a guy who ran for 181. It was like 81 yards.
So Elijah Dotson has 92 yards rushing, 15 per carry. So that's probably him. No, I totally missed that.
Sounds like, yeah.
Yeah, he like cut through the hole and just booked it. It was incredible.
Okay, are you guys ready for two rookie quarterback performances that I really was super impressed with? The first one, 8 for 11, 92 yards, 1 touchdown, and 36 yards on the ground running the football, almost 10 yards per attempt. Second rookie quarterback performance that I was really impressed by, 9 for 10, 102 yards, over 10 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, and 11 yards rushing. It is a rookie quarterback, a rookie performance that I was really impressed by. Any guesses who this character might be?
I would like Drew to answer first because...
So rookie quarterbacks that are in the league. We saw Anthony Richardson for the first time. We saw Bryce Young.
Didn't he just have an interception his first throw in the NFL?
Yeah, he sure did. And Miss Natalie is coming in through the scene here. Miss Natalie, please come sit down here and tell me how impressed. Who have you been most impressed with? Don't give me a hard question. Watch this play from Trey Lance and tell me what you think of Trey Lance's performance for the San Francisco 49ers.
Which one is he?
He's number 5.
Okay.
He's the quarterback.
That's a fast throw. Oh.
Ball's in the air. Touchdown. Are you impressed with that touchdown?
Honestly, I couldn't even follow where the ball was,
Yeah,
I'm impressed by every single person on the field because I couldn't do what they're doing.
What do you think Trey Lance's future in the league is?
More football.
More football. He's going to play more football in the NFL.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you,
You're
Natalie.
welcome.
Natalie, everybody.
Hot takes.
Getting Meatloaf back on. Yeah, we were watching the ridiculous Trey Lance bobble in the back of the end zone. That's why this show is a big advocate of actually watching the games. And that's why it's so important, because that is a touchdown on the stat sheet. It counts towards his QBR, his passer rating, and I don't think he quite deserves that after we watch the actual play. So watch the damn games. If you are watching an analyst and all they talk about is numbers, don't listen to them, because they really do not know what they're talking about. You do have to watch these games, and that's what we are here for. Any more guesses as to a rookie quarterback whose numbers these are? Anything?
So, Drew, I'm going to tell you that my guesses are, and I've got big stake in this game after just getting off of, being roasted by Jamie in one of his most recent videos that you definitely need to check out, where the shit talk is well deserved on my part of doing a first Dynasty fantasy league, and so I want to hope.
Dynasty Startup SuperFlex.
Yes, and I screenshotted the name of that title of the video so I could like actually plug it here, but I didn't have my phone out right now enough time to do that. So I'm gonna say I think 8 for 11, 92 yards, 1 touchdown, 36 yards rushing. My guess is DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Okay.
9 for 10, 102 yards, 1 touchdown, 11 rushing yards. I have to pray to the Lord that is Bryce Young. Okay.
They are both DTR because he's got 2 games already. He has thrown the ball 21 times. It has hit the floor 3 times, and he has not thrown an interception. He's thrown 2 touchdowns, and he's shown to be impressive as a runner. I am super excited for what the Browns have to back up Deshaun, and that, he's probably going to be the backup quarterback there going forward, number 2. Just how well he has produced as of late. There's been another Malik Cunningham out of the New England Patriots has looked extremely impressive. A super freak athlete, undrafted rookie, and got signed to like a $200,000 contract with the Patriots. He broke Lamar Jackson's run touchdown record at Louisville. Wow. He looked incredible at Louisville. I guess people are saying his arm isn't the best thing in the world. Arm looked fine on film recently, so maybe he's worked out some mechanic issues that he's had.
Do you guys remember when they said that about Lamar Jackson too, and they were trying to get him to go to the combine as like a receiver or a running back? Yeah,
well, the funny part is this guy, he wasn't as good as Lamar Jackson. He didn't win a Heisman like Lamar did, and he went undrafted for a lot of those reasons. And man, Bill Belichick does not like Mac Jones. So,
no, he doesn't. He's trying to give that guy other ways to fail.
That would be absolutely hilarious if Bill Belichick is like GM. Bill Belichick is like, you guys thought I was done. You guys thought I was washed up. Look at this guy I just found working at a McDonald's. And now he's going to be the starter for our team, win Rookie of the Year, something crazy like that. He also took snaps at wide receiver. I don't think he caught any balls at wide receiver, but man, did he look impressive against the third string defense or whatever. But, that's definitely not nothing. So, yeah, excellent job, Caleb. You got Tank Bigsby and you got DTR. I did throw a curveball.
Because I thought, for a second, 8 of 11, 92 yards. I was like 8-11. I was like, okay, that was 2 days ago. Who played 2 days ago? I was like, oh, okay, no, that's attempts and actual completions. And I even was like, I've only seen one rookie quarterback running the ball. It's been DTR. Yeah. At least impressively. And I was going to guess. I was like, he has played 2 different games now. I do know this. But I was like, no, I want to just hope one of those is my dynasty quarterback. Nope.
If you would have gotten both of them, if you said, I think that's both DTR.
I would have drowned myself tonight.
Don't worry. It's been so impressive because I did not think y'all were even going to think of DTR. Yeah, he's been super.
No, Mr. UCLA has been very impressive to me because as a Vikings fan and with all the shit the fan base has been talking, I completely get it. It's somewhat well-deserved as well on Kirk, but they've been looking and shopping every rookie quarterback. And so I've been high and low on every single one of them where I'm like, oh, Will Levis is going to be the future for the Minnesota Vikings. Then I'm like, after watching him at the combine just rip with his huge ass biceps like CMC, you said right before his breakout year. No, I don't know. DTR, I thought about it. I was like, I don't know, because he had an injury before he left college, right? I think he had a leg injury, like a lower body injury, or
I think you might be thinking of Hendon Hooker.
I know Hendon Hooker was hurt as well, but I know Hendon Hooker was like the super senior guy, and this guy was on par with like actual draft class age. Yeah. And I think he also had an injury, but I could be wrong. And it could be something that's from a longer while ago,
Well, it's obviously not bothering him now. Pete, Pro Football Focus. I hate Pro Football Focus. This is a big anti-Pro Football Focus show. However, whenever their stats prove me right, I will give them a shout out. 90.2 PFF grade DTR. 134.9 passer rating. I don't know. Is that good for a 5th round rookie?
That's a steal, man. Yeah. That's a steal.
And that's talk about when we see preseason football and we're looking at teams and just how their offense is operating and how their whole team is operating. Are they getting a lot of penalties? This gives me a lot of confidence in the Cleveland Browns if basically a Deshaun Watson light, a diet Deshaun Watson. DTR is looking like this with this offense without throwing the ball to Amari Cooper, David Njoku. The first and second string running back aren't even on the field.
Yep.
The starting offensive line is not on the field. He's throwing to, not even like the third or fourth string wide receiver. He's throwing to backups.
Yeah, these are the practice squad games where you're getting to see the depth and just you're trying to see the momentum of an offense carry itself, even if it's not, the starting helm at the frontier. So I think it's great. I do have to only reflect that, he is playing a lot of second and third string guys as well, but I think it's extremely promising when you've got a young guy like this in a system behind Deshaun Watson with no pressure to play him.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
But also we've seen these rookies come out against the second team, the third team guys, a mix mash of none of these teams are playing their Myles Garretts. None of these teams are playing their their superstar. Did Deron Payne play? Do you know if he got any snaps?
I don't know if he did. I was going to ask a question. How do you guys watch preseason football? Do you guys watch for just like certain players, how they're playing, or do you just watch the game as a whole cumulative? Because I always, whenever I'm watching, I like to watch the rookies. I like to watch some of the guys that it's their second year. How are they going to adjust to an off season? Just kind of things like that. Johan Dotson, just looking at things and in that regard, how do you guys watch a preseason?
I watch for rookies. I just ISO my vision on whichever rookie I'm most interested at the time. That's all I'm staring at. That's all I'm looking for is just how these guys are moving. And that is a great segue into the rest of my top rookie performers in this preseason. We already talked about Deuce Vaughn, this little squirt, man. Look at how absolutely just explosive he is.
Holy shit.
He is so fast, and this is exactly how he looked in Kansas State. Kind of wearing similar uniforms, by the way. He looks nice in that uniform, just so fast, and I think he's going to be a great punt returner, kick returner.
Yeah,
for
he
them
definitely
as well.
he definitely gives off like those Mark Ingram vibes.
Yeah.
But damn, dude, it is funny to see Jerry draft like one of the Lord of the Ring characters out there, just like hobbiting around, dude. That's perfect.
He's more of like a Gimli than a hobbit. He's more of a dwarf than a.
I'm just glad you guys laughed. I've seen a couple of the movies, and I'm not super versed in their, fan speak.
Lore.
But yeah, he's a tiny guy.
He is so small.
I really want to barefoot back to back on this guy. Like that sounds weird, but I just think I could see myself
Deuce,
in his.
you need to come here. We need a back-to-back. We need a thumb wrestle.
Yes.
We need
We're racing. All of us are
mini
racing.
Combine here.
Yes. Maybe in the off season, so you don't sprint. Because I love this guy. I think
I'll give him time to recover.
whether you think I don't think he'll ever be like a bell cow back. I think he'll kind of be like that. That like third down, change of pace back.
Yeah.
But I think. Just with this performance alone, he has very quickly elevated himself from just a silly kind of good story in the draft to this guy is an NFL player. He will be playing on Sundays for the next 4 years at least. You're going to see him, which is like a lot. That's like a lot for a 5'5" guy out of Kansas State that you're expecting him to play football in the NFL going forward when, 2 weeks ago it was like a joke, like, oh yeah, they just signed this guy because his dad works for the team. And, he's not really a superstar potential, even though he looked like it in college. This is what his college film looked like. Like, watch, whenever you see a safety decapitate the linebacker, or that's a corner, because Deuce Vaughn is so fast, like that cornerback literally got a crackback block from his safety because Deuce Vaughn is just
36.
This is actually a great hit.
It is.
I hope he went to concussion protocol because he got blindsided.
Oh, dude,
by
I could
his
talk
safety.
about that all day.
Oh my gosh. That's the worst whenever you see these preseason games when you got that like rookie, you got an undrafted free agent or a guy who's like on his third team, been bounced around practice squads, and he just gets his head taken off and he tries to like kind of play it off and shake it off. And like a part of me is like, oh, that guy needs to be taken off the field, get him in concussion protocol right away for his health and safety. But the other part of me is like, give this guy a chance. Like, just go out on your shield, because that's what my mindset would be if I was trying to make my way onto an NFL roster, fulfill my life goal in joining one of these teams, and just you don't get very many opportunities when you see a guy get injured.
Yeah.
When you see a guy get injured like that, as a man who famously has brain damage, what would you say about that?
I don't know how good the insurance is on these football teams.
Yeah.
Mine's okay. With veterans, the VA insurance is not the best, not the worst. But like I tell you, it's scary. And you know what? I think these guys are men, and as long as he can pass the test, or you know what, if you got a
what if he can't pass the test?
Then you gotta take him off. You gotta take him off the field. But I think that's where you have your captains and your leaders when they're around in the field. Well, they gotta be like, yo, hey, get this guy off. He's not doing well.
And your medical staff, right? You got to have your medical staff
has to look at it too.
And everyone's got to be on their game to protect the players from themselves. Because if that was me, I'm staying on the field.
Exactly.
I'm trying to earn a spot on the roster.
Yeah.
Despite my concussion,
I don't want to work at Chick-fil-A, so you know what? I'm going to give it on the floor.
Now we're pulling up footage of Tank Bigsby. I love this guy's film coming out of college, playing on Auburn, where he just did have absolutely nobody blocking him.
Shout out!
Look at that tight end though. Talk about Jacksonville and a positive trajectory. When you see tight ends and flexed out wide receivers blocking
Stuff
8
like
yards down the field on a running play, you're like, hell yeah, you got to feel good about how those players are being coached and the buy-in that they have in Jacksonville, which is notoriously, look at that push.
Yeah, that was a good
Hey,
block.
I'm going to say it right now. A block like that makes a running back horny. If you look at this,
yeah.
check Tank Bigsby. He takes the ball, almost trips when he's like, oh my God, look at that hole on that side of the field.
Yeah.
And then he's like, of course I'm going to exploit that. Do you know who I am?
Yeah.
Do you know who I am? And Dallas is like, he is who we thought he was.
Yeah.
Let him get away.
Yo,
and their
yeah.
tight end's
Look
like,
at that. Look at that steal block.
Nice.
Dude, he literally, that is what we were just talking about, leaving it all on the field. That guy had no tomorrow. It was right then in that block.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, hey, I'm going to end up on my front. But guess
Getting
what?
a lot of
You're gone.
look at that. That guard absolutely pancake blocked.
Dude.
His guy. This guy right here, I believe, will pancake block 54.
All right.
Boom! Just driven down onto the floor.
Dude, I think Jacksonville is, like, last year they earned their keep.
They won a fucking playoff game last year, and everyone's talking about it like it's a fluke. They're a good football team.
Dude, it starts up front like that. That's what I've been so furious about with the Vikings, and I hate that I'm watching this clip now. The Vikings had Kirk Cousins. If you even watch the NFL documentary, The Quarterback on Netflix, he's on his back like every 3 plays, or he's getting his foot stepped on by his starting right guard out of LSU. And guess what? Same 5 starting up front this season.
Yeah.
What do you expect, dude? It starts up front. If you cannot block, even for a run play like this, you can't ever expect to start passing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So Christian Kirk got the first screen for Jacksonville, which I think that's a real possibility that Christian Kirk seriously does still end up being the wide receiver 1 there in Jacksonville. Calvin Ridley looked good, caught 2 passes for 20 yards or whatever. He looked fine, but I just think Christian Kirk is legit. And a guy that's really slept on, and a guy that has already gotten paid by the organization. Got a massive contract.
Did y'all see that second team quarterback? I think his name is Doak or something, and he magicianed his way around. That is one of the greatest pass plays.
So it should have been called in the grass, because he was definitely in the grass with the defensive player, and I don't know if they changed that rule or not, but they definitely messed that up, because he was in the grass with the defensive player for like 5 Mississippi. It wasn't the Commanders, was it?
No, it was in this game. It was
Jacksonville.
Yes, the Jacksonville.
I don't think I have it pulled up. But yes, I do know the play you're talking about. That was one of the absolutely ridiculous plays of this preseason so far. I don't know what quarterback that was either.
You asked this question earlier, if there was like anybody fantasy or in just regular life, if I'm disappointed with them, or like if they kind of let me down. I'm not necessarily disappointed in them. entirely, but I do want to say the Vikings, as a Vikings fan, Lewis Seen out of Georgia, safety, right?
Okay.
I love the way that our new management, general manager, head coach, so Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and Kevin O'Connell, they're an analytical team. I would hope they also pair that with watching the film, but they're taking people that they love their non-tangible like personality and like their explosiveness and their motor. Lewis Seen, last year's first-round pick, compound fracture on his, I think, right ankle on special teams last year. We didn't get to see him. Dude got hit in the head so many times, head-to-head last game we just played against Seattle. I was actually concerned he might be under concussion protocol moving forward. But I'm not upset with him as a first-round pick. I just think that this defense has to be magic in order to actually get him healthy and productive for the team.
Especially in that division with the Lions looking the way they are. And we're not going to talk too much about the Chicago Bears, but did you see, I don't think you saw their preseason game. DJ Moore, the first time he touched a football in Chicago, ran for like a 72-yard touchdown.
I heard about it.
It was just a simple screenplay. And then there was, I don't remember who else took a ball at like a 70-yard dump off into the end zone. Chicago's offense looking really good. Justin Fields is scary. Of course, that defense sucks as well. And then Jordan Love looked super competent, playing for the Packers. Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs will be coming into the season healthy. Luke Musgrave over there, the Packers rookie tight end. But yeah, getting back to the end of our Jags talk, Calvin Ridley looked good. He looked competent. But I'm still a big believer in Christian Kirk. And I don't think having that second wide receiver on the roster is going to cut into Christian Kirk's playing time or Christian Kirk's targets whatsoever. I just think he is a rock solid, great value in pretty much anywhere that you can draft him. And what we'll end on here talking about the Jags and Tank Bigsby. Here's a video. I was seeing some propaganda saying that ETN was listed as taller and bigger, like 10 pounds bigger than Tank Bigsby. And this is not forced perspective. They're like, I guess Tank Bigsby might be standing but now they're even, right? Tank Bigsby looks to be an inch and a half taller and just way thicker. Like, look at that booty on Tank Bigsby. That's really honestly what I look at when I'm looking at running backs.
Yeah, he's definitely...
How big are those hips? Man, he is thick, and I love his running style. His running style reminds me a lot of kind of like a Nick Chubb, where he's just so quick laterally, but he always is kind of facing his hips to the end zone, so it doesn't really look like he's as shifty as he is. And man, is he just a unit. They love him in Jacksonville. I was super excited to have him drafted on my fantasy Dynasty startup league. I got him pretty damn late, and I'm feeling really, really good about him. Not as good as I'm feeling about Kendre Miller, who just looked horrible today and left with a knee sprain. RIP to Kendre Miller and all of my draft capital in him for this season. Jamal Williams, the good news with that is Jamal Williams didn't look particularly good, but Alvin Kamara looked absolutely electric on the first little screen pass that he just ran such a great route.
Yep, that was it right there.
We're watching the game is over, I believe.
Yes.
And they're running just some highlights on the NFL Network.
Yeah.
And man, did Alvin Kamara just look insanely talented, super fast, kind of like a revenge body sort of situation is what it's feeling like over there for New Orleans. And it's just 3-game suspension. Like, man, oh man, am I scared.
Why is Patrick Mahomes playing? Why did they roll Patrick Mahomes out week 1 preseason? Dude. They didn't
even really look that great. Mahomes and the Chiefs offense. Even Kelsey was playing. I don't think Kelsey even got a target.
Dude.
So, the bad performances in the preseason, I don't put too much stake in. But, man, if someone performs well, I am taking notice, especially when they're passing the eye test, especially when they're looking the part, if that makes sense. Moving on here to some other guys. Brian Branch the Detroit Lions, not the only Detroit Lion defensive player, was at the draft for the first round, was expected to go in the first round early, just fell for no reason. And Andrew Berry and the Lions, John Dorsey and Dan Campbell were like, we love this guy.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. This play right here, that downhill, dude, he knew where the ball was going. He knew where the ball was going.
Super smart. The Lions are drafting really, really smart, and you really see that when you, oh my gosh.
Dude, it's scary whenever you hear a team is trying to draft smart players because you're like, all right, dork, what about these athletes? Like, I get it, but I'm not drafting Kellen Moore to coach my fucking athletes. I want a player who I can put on my defense or offense and know they're going to be an impact player.
Well, when
and
you're
make
smart
impact plays
and you move like that, man.
Yes.
Like, what if Brian Branch and, spoiler alert, Jack Campbell will be next on my list, just transform this defense? Like, you know, maybe you're still a little bit concerned about like whatever, like the interior defensive line, but if the offense plays to their potential, which why wouldn't they be? It's the same exact offense, same exact offensive line. 2 massive upgrades in the running back room, in my opinion. Jahmyr Gibbs played a little bit. He kind of similar to the way Alvin Kamara just kind of found a way to get open on the first screen pass. He looks very comfortable receiving the football. He didn't get a whole bunch of touches. He didn't get a whole bunch of opportunity. Jahmyr Gibbs didn't. But in every aspect of the game, I thought he looked fantastic. Picked up some great blitzes, which is great. Another thing that I always like looking at, especially rookie running backs. In preseason games is like, how are they picking up blitzes? How are they blocking, pass protecting? Because that's so important when we're talking about rookie running backs who probably didn't block too much in college because they wanted them to have the football in their hands as much as possible. Next on the list, Jack Campbell. This is just a random kind of
compilation.
Just he's just covering on the play. And what I love about this play, the reason I chose it, because he made some great tackles too. He was like, every time he was next to the ball, he was like tackling the guy or he was finishing up the tackle. He was just all over the field, super fast. And we got him one-on-one with a running back. And my favorite part about this is lockdown coverage, of course, just laser focus. He knows his assignment. But look at this celebration. Like, yeah! Like, he's just super pumped because he just locked down this guy. He's like, if you just showed that celebration, you'd have thought that he just got like a massive sack or a forced fumble or something. But
maybe he felt the ball hit his calf.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I just saved the pass. Let's go.
You knew what happened, but man, do I love Jack Campbell.
Awareness and vision is such an important value to have in your athletes, because if you're not really like paying attention, watching and aware of it, dude. And so I mean, celebrate that. You kept him right in front of you. Cornerbacks can't even do that with wideouts, which I know it's a completely different scheme and like different athletes doing different things, but that's impressive. It doesn't matter how you do it. You got to cover, and he did. Yeah,
I love Jack Campbell. I think he's really going to transform. Already starting over Rodrigo, so we're going to have like a weird
tandem
young
linebacker
competition there in Detroit for what it's worth. I just love the way the Detroit draft went in particular. You know, Jack Campbell, Jahmyr Gibbs, 2 highly controversial picks in the first round. And then all the analytics nerds were like, well, actually, they had a good overall draft because they got Brian Branch and a couple of other really good studs later on. But
competition always breeds success. That's something that
That's
always have to
thing.
Run an organization based off of. You got to see it on the field. That's coming from a Vikings fan who has to accept a lot of mistakes that get made. So,
It is looking good in Detroit.
I'm particularly more afraid of Detroit this year than last year, and there are very few. I know people are still really high on Detroit this year after last year's ending, but like, dude, there's reason to be concerned as a Vikings fan of NFC North. And it sounds weird because the fact that the Lions have never once claimed the NFC North in their entire franchise. So I'm really afraid of this to be the first time as a Vikings fan. But we'll see. I'm excited. I love the competition always.
Yeah, the NFC North is going to be really fun, especially with Justin Fields.
Just really quick, too, before we pass on from that, I want to give 2 shout-outs to Ivan Pace Jr., played his ass off with Minnesota. The number 2 is kind of surprising for me. Najee Thompson, a special teams player, had fantastic reads on the special teams. great. And I'm excited about Ivan Pace Jr. I know he's not going to be like our true middle linebacker or linebacker one because we've got Brian Asamoah on his second year after the departure of Eric Kendricks. We've also got Jordan Hicks, and then now Andre Carter the second is somebody that's kind of been working with the edge guys and linebackers, and Ivan Pace Jr., both undrafted rookies that the Vikings picked up. Andre Carter the second played for Army. I don't quite recall where what's his name? The first guy was Ivan Pace Jr. played for. I think he might have been Georgia Bulldog, possibly, but I could be wrong.
Hell yeah. Shout out to some undrafted who I'm sure
Impact
will make
players.
the roster.
I think they
There we
might.
go.
I think they might.
Next up on my list I think he only got like 2 touches this game. This is all I needed to see out of Tank Dell for the Houston Texans. He's a guy that's probably not going to produce very much this year, not because of any of his fault, but just the fact that that offense is just going to be pretty bad as a whole this year. But I love Tank Dell in dynasty leagues. I didn't pick him up. I got him in my rookie draft. Just the speed. I like to call him Slant Lord. Look at the slant route that he just runs. When you have guys wearing NFL uniforms just totally misjudge the speed. Look at these 2 linebackers just like get split up the middle. Like those pursuit angles were so far off, and they had a 10-yard buffer on him. Probably going to have to do a lot of press coverage. Tank Dell will probably see a lot of press coverage. A kind of a smaller guy.
Yeah.
Didn't really bother him that much in college. And I think his second reception was a little bit tighter coverage than this. I don't even really understand what the Patriots were thinking here. You're just not going to be able to play Tank Dell this way. Just the speed to the burst that he has, a guy that I'll definitely be trying to trade for once he does have a hopefully disappointing start to this NFL season with a rookie quarterback throwing him the ball probably.
I'm so happy to hear that because I know that this man's got quarterbacks in that league, and I've got Tank Dell. So
yeah, we will probably cover our dynasty draft to end the show. But yeah, I've got some quarterbacks on my team, and I'll be looking to trade them for some superstar talents like Tank Dell, and maybe like a first and a second round rookie draft pick.
let's also give a shout out to real quick because now I'm the shout out king, I guess. Damar Hamlin back suiting up.
Damar Hamlin looked
Buffalo.
good too. Had I think 3 tackles from the cornerback position in some limited time that he saw. Yeah, a guy that we saw die on TV, and it ruined a lot of fantasy football championships last season, and we don't really talk about that in hindsight. Like week 17, a lot of people wanted that game to be played. I did not really want to see it. I wasn't super bummed out at the time, but I did lose a fantasy football championship because of that. So what are you going to do? You live and you learn, and you move on. My other dynasty league.
Yeah. Either way, I was just trying to be happy exactly that
Glad he's okay and he's doing what he loves and not working at Chick-fil-A.
Hell yeah.
Let's
Hell
go.
yeah.
my pleasure.
That's the dream. Next guy on the list. I think my only first round draft pick that I put on the list because I wanted to get a little bit deeper into. Or I guess I put Jack Campbell on here too. But Jalen Carter, man, first play. I'm not familiar with this Ravens right guard. But he just one arm just shoves him out of the way from the interior line. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. When you only have 3 Mississippi and you got someone coming in from the interior, it's a guy that's going to have to get double teamed every time he's on the field now.
Yeah, or you get fruit roll up like this, right?
Oh my gosh, man.
Fruit by the foot, man.
Super scary. A guy who really just fell in the draft, probably would have gone like first or second non-quarterback off the board this season if he wasn't a potential shitbird. He's in Philadelphia. He's got a good head coach. He's got smart veterans around him. And a guy that is just looking absolutely electric and probably just a freak athlete who didn't give a fuck about training for his combine or his pro day. Man, oh man, this guy is a problem and a guy who I was worried about pre-draft and post-draft. I did pick him up in my other dynasty league as an individual defensive player. In the rookie or after the rookie draft, I picked him up as a free agent, unsigned, and oh man,
That was a great pick.
About his prospects going forward. Just a super talented guy and a guy who looks like to be in shape. So look out, rest of NFL for Jalen Carter. And then we have the very last Trey Lance touchdown pass that I had to watch like 14 times to even figure out what happened.
He needs to say thank you to the Raiders for helping give him an assist right there.
Yeah.
So
So we are gonna play a game
I love games.
for the next segment of the show, a version of Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Okay.
That of course we've never played that game in real life because we're adults and we respect women and stuff. But we are gonna do sit one, start one, and cut one. So bench, cut, and start. The 3 players I have selected here for the first part of this segment: Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, and Javonte Williams. Dalvin.